This is a demo of Revise Beta 4 compiled for systems 10.8 on, and I'm running it in 10.10.1 Yosemite. Let's launch the product. And most of the controls are probably familiar with anybody that does image processing, except for the tone edits. So let me review those quickly. Go to the 4G Color website, support, and tone tutorial. And tone is the artist's word where you have mixed black, white, and some pure color to get intermediate tones. And when you mix white, it's called tint. When you mix black, it's called shade. And a two-dimensional slice in color space looks like this. This is a Munsell plot, although other color spaces will be similar. And the issue is this: suppose you have a color in the middle and you wish to adjust it. It obviously could adjust in any one of, in this case, 8 directions. So a center color like this can adjust in any of these directions. Most applications just have a saturation adjustment, which sort of will move it this direction and towards the neutral axis. Some move it higher up, some move it lower down. But that's not enough. If you want to adjust colors, you need to move in several directions. And I've arbitrarily named these. If this is your center color, this one would be whiter, lighter, brighter, more vivid or saturated, deeper, darker, blacker, and grayer. And those are tone adjustments. That's enough of that. And if you look at these controls, you have whiter, deeper, grayer, saturated, darker, lighter, and that's what those are. Although you can apply these adjustments to just the warm colors or the cool colors, or both. Now for this example, here's a picture, drag and drop, and let's start off by forgetting about selective adjustments, and we'll just select the whole thing. I'm going to move this selective out of the way so it doesn't bother us. And of course you can adjust the brightness. Oops, let's select all regions and select the brightness and highlights. These are controls that we're probably all familiar with. Fine-tune the color, adjust the focus a bit, and so that's adjusted. Let's arbitrarily convert this to a portrait. When you do that, you need to recrop it. And the cropping tool on this is not the same as most applications where you put a window over the area you're interested in. The reason for that is that even though the initial crop may be a little trickier, once you've done it, you can make fine adjustments. For example, I think she's looking too crooked, so let's just straighten it out a little bit. Notice that when I click a point on the opposite side, there's a little circle moving. That's the pivot point. And so you can finely adjust this to get just the crop you want. Now let's look at these controls, and just to give you an idea of the difference between the 4G color technology and other systems, let's look at preview. And on preview, let's look at their tools, adjust color. And as you saw, I adjusted shadows and highlights and color to get this. If you look at this one, we'll set auto levels first. And now let's adjust exposure. And you see that as you do it, the colors flatten out. Look at the face. Colors are clipped. We didn't have the problem in the 4G colors. Also over here, when you adjust shadows, if you look at the shadows, you can get adjusted like that. And this one, if you look at the shadows, well, you can't make it darker, you can make it less dark. Highlights over here, let's add highlights. And highlights here. Well, you can't make it brighter, you can only make it darker. And contrast over here. So we went from almost no brightness change. Let's go completely. So this is only a colored variation, no brightness variation, to hard black and white. And if you go here and look at a contrast change, to there to there. Now let's look at color adjustments. On this one, okay, that looks, I'm going to increase the highlights so it looks a little better. We now look at the tone adjustments we talked about before. If you look at our skin tones, we're going to make it whiter and deeper. We're going to make it more gray, more saturated, darker, lighter, blacker, brighter, and all 8 adjustments I just made work differently and may be necessary to get the skin tones that you like or the tones of some other color object. If we go to Apple's controls, they have just a saturation control, which goes unsaturated and then saturated. So this is the, and you can tell it's clipping too. Notice the color change around these areas right here. It's just gamut clipping, which does not happen in the 4G system. And so if you were trying to achieve a whiter effect, let's say here, whiter skin tones, you just can't do it over here. Sharpness, there I didn't see much of an effect, and over here focus, there it is less focused, there it is more focused. So that's a comparison of those controls. Now let's look at some color cast adjustments. For this, let me lower the exposure so it doesn't look quite as bad, and I'm not sure how to make that look better. Maybe with the levels. There, that looks better. Well, not really. The color controls are temperature adjustments, which goes to a blue to, so that's one axis for color shifting, and then tint is another axis. Whereas with this system, you can do simple hue shifts. Let's do all the colors, and we'll move it from magenta to green, and you can set it anywhere in between. And you can do this, of course, like I said, on just warm colors or warm and cool colors. Or you can do cast adjustment. And with cast adjustment, you can adjust white points, the gray points, or the black points. Now let's do gray points. The advantage of gray point adjustment is that the dark and white areas stay the same, and so the picture tends to look a little more realistic that way. And we'll adjust the tint, so there it is, bluer, greener, these a lot warmer. So this is how you would adjust the near neutral color cast to achieve either color correction for the light source or to get an effect that you would like. You could also do the white point. Notice now that the white areas are moving in cast. And the black point. The second thing you can do after you've adjusted, say, here we'll make it very warm and sunny, is you can then adjust the tone of the color cast adjustment, as you can see. Once you've done something like that, you may have the colors you want, but contrast isn't quite what you want, so go to Shadows, and you've added shadows, and let's adjust the highlights slightly, and you can you have control over the colors in that way. Let's get rid of those, so hit a reset button. Let's reset everything, in fact, and I'm going to come back and increase the brightness. And now let's do some selective editing. Let's grab one of these regions, and you get that little circular thing. You can change the size and angle, move it by just putting inside of it. Notice that down here at the bottom it's a clue of what it's doing. Inside of a region, it says that's region 3. You'll look up here on the left and you'll see, yeah, that's region 3. In that region you can adjust the size and shape, the position, the rotation and size, and then the second ellipse. So basically the way this works is any of the adjustments on the left side can be applied to inside, and the separation tells over what distance you're going to blend those in to the rest of the image. So let's make this effect pretty close. So we're going to start off, let's start off and make the eyes, which are cool colors, deeper. So they're whiter, they're deeper and more saturated. I'm going to pump up the color a little bit here. These are the more neutral colors, and so now we have eyes that are bluer, or if you want, you could make them greener or more magenta. And if you play around with these, you can get them to look like you want, and by doing highlights and shadows together you can get it so that it blends in properly with the face. Let's make the eyes more focused, and there, I think they're more interesting there. And let's take a second region. I can't see one on screen. This scale factor for the preview, you can just reduce it down, and that way you can see where all these other things are sitting. Let's grab one of these and put it over the emblem on the hat. Scale back up. And now let's, it's selected. As soon as you click within one of these regions, it's selected. And let's make that a little brighter, and and let's do, now that we've got everything adjusted sort of the way we want it relatively, we'll select everything. From now on, the adjustments apply to everything, starting with what we've already adjusted, so you accumulate changes. So now I can make the entire brightness of everything that I've adjusted work, keeping the correct proportions. Definitely more focus. And let's say that we wanted to print this out as that's pretty nice. Let's make an 8x10 print, and let's make it 150 ppi, and there it is. If we go to our printer page setup, I've got a Canon here, and let's go to borderless letter, okay, and then hit print, and here's a preview, and it's an 8x10 printed on a 9.5x11, so it'll have 1/4 inch side borders and 1/2 inch top and bottom border. Cancel out of that. If you want to save it as some file, you probably wouldn't save it as an 8x10 like this. Let's save it as a 4x6 and 100 ppi, much smaller, let's say for a website or something. And then you just export as whatever, and it's saved. You open it in preview, there it is. let's see. Oh, one thing else you might want to do with this is put a vignette on it. So the vignette width is here. You can go very broad, and you can set the tone of the vignette to white, or you can, I like the pink color in here. Pink is sort of this color of red, and adjust the tone a little bit. And now having done that and looking at this, I sort of think that emblem is just a little too harsh. Click it, and we will reduce its contrast, mess with the shadows a little bit. One of the things that you can do with this app is any adjustment at any time in any order. I guess that's not one thing. Have we covered all the basis of this? Oh, if you want to save your work, so later I want to edit on this some more, just save as a revise file. And when you save it and open it, it'll come back in exactly this the same format. I think I've covered everything. Oh, one thing you might want to do, let's grab another region. Set it like this. Pull in the blend area. Scale it back up so you can see it. And for that, we're in region 1. And let's just blur that. Oops. We want to be outside region 1. All these controls can work either inside a region or outside the region. And blur that. And now we have softened all the edges. And we have that version. Oh, finally, one other thing, since we're already outside the region, we have the eyes adjusted right, the skin adjusted right, but let's move this up a little bit. The coat she's wearing, let's just look at the cool colors on the coat, and let's make them deeper. And you can see that the only thing that is affected, because that's in the whole picture, that's the only place there's cool colors that are outside the regions. And that gives an example of things you can do with Revise. Thank you.